The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in disguise.
Attack the Autobot commander! Call in a Decepticon leader!
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Hasbro.
This is where it all started for me. Hey, this is Regimus Maximus, and this is my Transformers G1 Season 1 review. Hey, get ready.
Regimus Maximus reviews.
More than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, robots in disguise. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers.
When this show first came on, this began my whole big love for the Transformers. I mean, seeing the commercials was one thing, but actually getting to see the stories, oh man, that just took things to a whole new level. Christmas time, I couldn't wait to get some Transformers. And each day after school, I had my set of cartoons I used to watch. And Transformers was my #1 cartoon. You know, as a kid, I loved this show. To me, it was perfect. Wasn't nothing like the Transformers. But going back to this situation, we're actually go back and try to review Season 1. And you look at it from a reviewer's standpoint. You know, I mean, like I said, I've been there from the beginning. So, I mean, going back and just seeing little things, like when they left Cybertron. And, you know, that whole fight scene, you know, where the Decepticons boarded the Autobot ship, you know, and they crashed. I mean, that whole scene brought back so much because it's just classic. It's just classic. You know, I mean, the volcano erupting and everything, which actually shook up everything and caused the little computer to come up and to go around and start scanning things like, that whole situation. Like I said, I mean, that brought back a lot, you know. Now, Skywarp was the first one that was revived, and after he was revived, and then he got Megatron, and so the whole Decepticon group got revived first. Now, as a kid, I never would have thought that my favorite cartoons, the Transformers, would grow to become such a pop icon. I mean, because the thing is, you know, I mean, these guys and everything, I mean, just through Transformers, there's so many of us that actually connect. You know, for a long time, I thought that I was the only one, but there's more. There are more. There's a whole bunch of us everywhere. Now, if it wasn't for Starscream, the Autobots probably wouldn't have woke up, because he started shooting down there at him, saying he just want to say goodbye, and that's what got them knocked around, and that's how Optimus Prime got woken up and everything, got scanned. I mean, so it's Starscream's fault that they woke up. One of the main things I liked about the G1 Transformer series, the personalities. The personalities are what made these robots. In the movies, the only personality you really have is really Optimus Prime. You got Shockwave, not Shockwave, but Soundwave. I mean, but a lot of the other ones don't really have their regular personality. None of them do. So, I mean, if you make a movie, let them have their personalities, because I think ultimately that's what the fans want, those personalities. I think those personalities are what we loved, and I think that even a new generation would still love those personalities just as much as I did. Watching this, for instance, if you look at Cliff Jumper, he's one of those friends that you can't take anywhere, because he's going to get into a fight. It's going to happen. He's going to get into a fight. You know, I mean, you'd see the obscure characters like Holler. Holler was in one episode, the first episode. He was the grapple-looking truck that pulled Hound out of the ravine. Now, there's a lot of people that always talk about they want to see the Transformers. It's not about the humans. I think that's a yes and no. Like I said, in G1 now, they had their human friends. Now, one thing that contradicts itself and everything, because they're always like, well, Autobots can't fly. Well, the first episode, these guys flew. Plain and simple, they flew. They flew to that, was it an oil rig? And they fought the Decepticons. They flew. This first season of the Transformers let you know who was who and who did what. And that kept me coming back and kept us coming back day after day, week after week. I mean, that set the precedence for this show. Now, when this show first started, you had the Decepticon jets, Seekers, whatever you want to call them, but there was various colors of these guys. Now, back then, they didn't have names for some of these other guys we might have seen, like the Decepticon Welcoming Committee. You also had the Decepticon Rainmakers. I know that the Transformers Siege line actually made a 3-pack of those. But back then, they weren't named. That's something that's been happening over the years. Back then, they didn't have no names for those characters. So many classic Transformers were made during this season. Like you have the Dinobots, but if you go and look back, Grimlock's mask is not the same as it was because they end up changing that to another mask. In G1, the Dinobots were the first sub-team within the Decepticons or Autobot factions. They were the team within those two factions. They were the first team in those factions in G1. Now we talk about some of these classic characters and everything. Skyfire or Jetfire, either one you want to call him. He was another one of these classic characters. He started off as a Decepticon. He was actually Starscream's friend. But the thing is and everything, I mean, when it came to hurting humans and stuff like that, he wasn't down with it, and Starscream ended up shooting him. I mean, so that separated their friendship, and hey, he became an Autobot. As you go back and you watch this cartoon like I did, I mean, you go back and you find so many things, like the whole thing where they would miscolor something. I mean, like this blue Optimus Prime. I got that was the MPP or the MMP10, either or. It's a blue version of Optimus Prime, and that's where they got it from that miscolored version of Optimus Prime. They even miscolored Skywarp. They made him look just like Starscream. Skywarp, I mean, come on now. You know, one character I wish they would have did more with was Dr. Ockerville. I think that they should have done a whole lot more with him. The Autobots had their allies. I would love to see more continue with the Decepticon allies. To me, one of the classic battles is the battle between the Constructicons when they first came on the scene and the Dinobots. The Dinobots, they just wasn't having it, plain and simple. The Constructicons thought they was going to sneak in, destroy Teletran 1, the Dinobots just wasn't going to have it. But even with the Constructicons, if you look at Devastator's first look on his mask, he didn't have his glasses. And then it goes back to where he does have his glasses, because they made those improvements. It's crazy if you look and see those things. The first appearance of the Decepticons were another great first appearance. I mean, if you think about it and everything, you look at these guys, it was 3 Decepticons. They all had the same color scheme. I mean, they just rocked. I mean, I just love the look of those characters. Another great thing about G1 was Teletran 1. Teletran 1 was Alexa before Alexa. I mean, Teletran was the internet before the internet. I mean, he was your home security and everything. I mean, heck, I want a Teletran 1. Well, hey, this was my review of Transformers G1 Season 1. I hope you liked it. Like I said, I mean, this is what started everything. I'll also be doing a review of Season 2. I'll probably break it up in maybe 2 or 3 parts. I don't know. I will see. But either way, it's Regimus Maximus, and I'm out.